channel. It's been a while since the last update. Just been cracking on with lots of other little boring jobs that wouldn't interest any of my viewers, and some of them not even Ford. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah, no update last week on either car, either Scarlett or Nora, or any other cars in the workshop. But today, as you can see in the background, I have got, it'll lift me head up, it'll follow me, I've got Scarlett on the ramp. I've not finished up the tunnel inside the car yet, and the reason for that is I was making a riser for the top of the gearbox. I figured it best to get the gearbox actually mounted at the height it needs to be before I permanently weld everything in, finish it off. It just makes sense. If I make everything for the tunnel riser and then decide the gearbox has to go slightly higher, then it's all going to be changed. So with that in mind, I've got the car on the ramp and got the gearbox at the height I need, and start fabricating the gearbox mount, which I've already started and I forgot to film, but I'll show you what I'm up to. So like I say, Scarlett on the ramp. I've got the transmission, the jack on the gearbox. Yeah, I've got the engine, if you can just make out. Where's the angle finder? I can't get to it. Well, anyway, got the angle finder set on the engine. Engine sat at 3 degrees. You can make it out there. It actually says 87, but obviously 3 degrees off. 90 degrees. So the engine sat at 3 degrees. I have cut some flat bar, which cuts the length of flat bar at 20-inch long. It's going to be too long, I can trim it down. Basically, I think this is 6 or 8 mil thick, I can't remember. Pre-drilled it, mounted up to gearbox. Now I'm going to put some bends in it. Obviously bend it up to meet the floor this side, same that side. Drill the floor, get it where I'm happy with it, and then I'm going to put some gussets down the side of the flat bar just to put some strength in it, because obviously 300 horsepower, sooner or later something's going to crack, break, bend. You know, it's going to really abuse every mount, and the engine mounts are fine. I just want to make something nice and beefy and substantial for the gearbox. As you can see, still got this edge to dress back and weld up and clean and whatnot on the tunnel all the way around, but it's tack welded in. Well, pretty big tack welds, stitch welded, so it's not going anywhere. So it just makes sense to get this gearbox mounted now. So that's what I'm on with. I'm gonna do some measuring up and do our bends and get it bolted up, and then move forward from there. What we'll have to do is inside the car is probably weld some steel plates, the spreader plates on the floor, because this is only, I don't know what this is, 1.2 mil thick. So basically I want to beef it up a bit inside the car as well, and weld some captive nuts in as well, so make it easier to move in and out. It's not a two-man job trying to undo the gearbox, and also it's got nice strength in the floor for the gearbox. Because the last thing I want to do is start twisting the floor pans up. So yeah, that's what I'm up to. Pretty much I've not touched Scarlett for, well, since the last video, the gearbox tunnel. I've been working on Nora. Nora's currently, if you just hit me, gimbal come wake up. Oh, there it is, just basking out in the sun. Done my paint work on it now, it just needs a flat and buff, and then final assembly. Those cones sat over there painted, waiting to go back on once it's been flattened and buffed. But yeah, been on with Nora. As well as other boring jobs that you wouldn't want to see, been on with Nora, getting the paintwork done and getting through the snagging list and moving on with that one as well. So move forward a little bit, and I've got it folded, drilled and bolted up. Drilled it to the floor, so what I've got to do is jump inside, drop 2 M8s through, bolt it up. What I am going to do is, that's not going to be very strong, so I'm going to put like a 20 mil gusset all the way around, so add a bit of strength to it on both sides, and weld that in, and I think that should be strong enough. Get it powder coated, and it should look the part, but at the minute it just looks like a bent bit of metal. Put it to start. Well done, whipped it off the car quick, that's all it is. Some 5mm drilled for the gearbox, and then 2 mounts either side, folded to suit. What I'm going to do is get some cardboard and draw around it, so then I've got a template so I can give it to my good mate next door, Ian, at Triple H Engineering. Speaking quietly because he's in at the minute and he doesn't actually know he's been getting this job, and he can plasma me a 20mm strip all the way around, and that should, if he plasmas 2 of them, he'll have plenty of strength to it. Get that welded in, that'll be that, well, a bit of powder coat and that'll be finished. Should be plenty strong enough, it's not going to bend anytime soon. But yeah, I'm going to get some, say, get a template drawn of it, and then drop some M8 bolts through the floor, and next will be some spreader plates to go inside on the floors to spread the load. I've got these ones, these come with a universal gearbox mount from Retro Ford, so I'll possibly use these, not sure yet, we'll see, but I'll get my template done, get it bolted in, and then see what we're dealing with inside the car. So I'll have to jump forward a bit. I always forget to pick the camera up and film it, I just get stuck in and get on with it. So as you can see, our flat bar has progressed a little. I got some 32mm tube, cut it down the centre, so I halved it, and then braced up across here, and then got some 25mm tube and drilled and put them in, so our fixings are in there. Well, there we. So yeah, a lot of cleaning up to do. I'll get this powder coated, dress it up a little bit, maybe chop these tubes down a touch, add these welds a little bit because not my best welds, but they're welds. And get it powder coated black, so it looks nice and neat. As you can see, I welded in the spreader plate inside the car for this one. I just tacked on 2 big washers here. I'm going to weld around them, make it look a bit more finished. And then on this side, still loose, I'm just about to pull it up tight, seam weld around the spreader plate inside, and tack these on here, and I can pull the mount off and seam weld around these washers. And that's the gearbox cross member finished, mounted, all done. So in the passenger side, this is the spreader plate I was talking about. This one's still loose. Vetlet, get it where I want. I am welding to M825 bolts in, and the simple reason for doing it this way, it would have been nicer welding 2 nuts inside, but then you couldn't weld nylocks because it ruined the nylocks, and I'd like some way of locking it, because obviously the gearbox and the engine is going to be a lot of vibrations. So this way I can weld them into the spreader plate, weld the spreader plate into the floor, and I can use nylocks underneath, so a good chance it won't shake loose. There's one side all seam welded in. I'm going to get this side tight, get this side positioned where I want it, tighten it down, tack these to the spreader plate, and then seam weld the spreader plate into the floor, and then just tack the washers underneath to the gearbox cross member, and then I can pull the cross member out and weld them in properly, and that's the job done. So we have it, the plate welded in, spreader plate into the floor. That's welded from up top, so you can see it's got good penetration through the metal. The only place it doesn't like it's penetrated is there, but that's because of the double skin on the tunnel. But that's 2 spreader plates welded in. Let's ignore the machinery in the background. There's ignore it with a number plate now. Anyway, back to Scarlet. The only thing we've got to do now is wait for it to cool down, pull this gearbox cross member off, seam weld around these 2 washers, and that is the gearbox cross member finished. The gearbox is finally mounted. Praise the Lord. So there we have it, the finished article. Have to excuse the background noise, someone's jet washing. Yeah, welded in these thick washers here, just to add a bit of strength to this flat and also make it a little bit more complete. Looked a bit unfinished as flat bar. I'll probably trim these ends off and make them radius, make it look a bit neater. But that's it. We'll then quick clean up and grind down and powder coat. I was going to weld some of these tubes over these as well, but it'd just be a bit tricky getting nuts inside there, so I figured this is the better option. But as you can see, I think that's plenty strong enough. See, we've got some nice penetration on the floor. That's welded from inside. Oh, now going to move. What I will show you is the mount that was supplied with the gearbox, which is just this formed piece of alley with some pressed holes in it. It doesn't look the strongest piece. It might have worked, who knows. Sneak peek of Nora there. Basically, when this mounted up to the gearbox was set at the correct 3 degrees. That's how far off the floor it was. As you can imagine, that's not ideal. And we've also got an exhaust to come through there too, so it just wouldn't work. I'm sure this is just a universal gearbox mount. I think I've actually seen these for sale on MST just as a universal gearbox mount. So anyway, this is far stronger and gives us nice clearance for the exhaust to come through as well, so I'm sure that'll do the trick. So back inside the car, there's the spreader plates all welded in with the bolts welded. See on the other side, they're going to be strong enough now to stop the floor buckling. Next job will be to, now that I've finalised the gearbox heights, to get the riser finished up. I've already sort of made something. It just needs fettling, so the angle of the floor, welding in, and then make a top for it. And that should be it. That should be hopefully if I get some time next week, I'll get on with that, and then I can carry on with the rest of the fabrication: rear bulkhead, rear seat cross member, seat mounts. I can't finish up welding the tunnel until the engine and gearbox comes back out. I can finish up. I don't want to potentially burn anything on the engine whilst welding the back of the tunnel, sorry, the front edge of the tunnel. It just gives me more access, and then once the engine and gearbox are out, I can weld the inside and then jump underneath and carry on stitch welding the other side, trim out what's necessary to come out, and then stitch weld it. That is it for Nora. So the engine's now mounted. It's hard to see, but there is actually clearance behind the engine. Yeah, zoom in. Will that work? Yeah, as you can see, there's a gap. It's not a lot, but being on a World Cup cross member and a big beefy gearbox cross member, I don't think it's ever going to get anywhere close. So that's it. That's it for the Nora Scarlet update. Next week it'll be full steam ahead with Nora. I think next week should pretty much have this car finished. It's got to flatten buff the nose cone, flatten buff the driver's wing, bit on the rear quarter, and then stripes, nose cone fitted, all the finishing touches. Hopefully MOT, fingers crossed, we'll see. But anyway, that's it for the Scarlet update, and I will see you in the next video. So that's it for another week at SC Classics. You can see not massive amount done on the Escort. Well, not in this video anyway. I've been working on Nora, but I'll show you that in the next video. Mainly lots of little jobs that have been coming in and out, a few regular customers, so we had to deal with them. Nothing that you'd want to see on a video, but the tail end of this week I cracked on with Scarlet and got the gearbox mounted. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good weekend. I'll see you soon.